Welcome back to the Techno and House podcast. Today, my guest is my beautiful and wonderful and talented friend, Anna Tur.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm very good now that I'm here with you. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you. It's a long time since
I
I met you the last time.
I feel like I always see you, but just because Instagram exists.
Yeah.
But we don't see each other in actual.
Yeah, and we are really connected
We
since
are.
a long time. So
That is true. Sometimes I'm like, I think of something, and then you think of the same thing, and we message each other.
Yeah, that's true.
We have like this weird connection, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
It's in the soul.
It doesn't happen to me with not too much people. Huh?
Happens with my mum and you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm honored.
It's true. True story.
But mom is mom, eh?
But mum is mum.
Yeah.
So today the topic that we're going to be talking about is Ibiza, obviously. And the only person that can talk about this topic the way that we're going to talk about it is you. Because Anna is born and bred from here and knows all of the Ibiza.
I'm a really nutty from Ibiza, and when I go around the world, a lot of people ask me, but you are from Ibiza? There are hospitals and schools in Ibiza? And I say, okay, yes, for sure.
It's true. Some people think that Ibiza isn't actually real life.
Just for party and...
Yes.
Here there is many people living.
There are schools here, there are supermarkets here, there are hospitals, there are pharmacies, just like anywhere else in the world.
Yes.
So, as you're somebody that was born here, what was it like partying when you were growing up in Ibiza? So you went to school here and your first times going out, because obviously it's not the same for somebody that comes and does the season or has just spent some time here. You've known it from the beginning. So what was it like back then?
Sometimes I say that I remember when I was a child, it's a long time ago.
It's not that long ago.
I was super impressed with the billboards. I was always in the car asking to my dad and mom, what's that? Who's this? And they told me they are DJs. And I was like, what's a DJ? And they told me it's a person, an artist who plays in clubs. In this club, for example, that you see on the road, Privilege, Amnesia, Space. When we were around, they were always saying to me, this is that club, this is this club. And
really?
Yeah, and I was always surprised about that, and every summer changing the artworks and everything. And for me, was a bit painting, like, what's that? And after all this time, when I was a teenager, they were beautiful, amazing teenagers party in Pacha, Ibiza. It was called Galas Juveniles. So from 14 to 17, you could go to party at Pacha.
No way.
Yeah, and all the kids were there with no alcohol for sure, but a lot of guest DJs and artists were playing in that parties, and for me was super good because I started earlier than maybe another person who born in another place of the world, and I start to experiment with the clubbing lifestyle so young for that.
Yeah, so probably like from 14 to 17, you were going to Pasha.
Yeah.
Wow.
From 14, I was going to Pasha.
And it's funny because some DJs that you interview, when I ask the question, what was your first clubbing experience? A lot will say, when I was 16 or 17 and I used to go to a club illegally, but yours wasn't even illegal. Yours was totally legal.
It was totally legal, and I had really good memories from that time because I discovered the house music sounds from the 90s and 20s, and was a really nice experience, which opened me my actually way of life.
Yeah.
I discovered that something was in movement inside me about and around the house music, and for me was super incredible to have these experiences so young.
And discover. Aún está grabando, ¿no?
¿Se puede cortar?
Sí, claro. Solo quiero mirar. No, solo que yo me he puesto nerviosa. Odio la tecnología.
¿Se nota que estamos borrachas?
Sí.
Esto córtalo, ¿eh? Que es muy bueno. Hostia, me he mareado.
Anyway. So, talking about the billboards, can you remember, were there any billboards in particular that you used to see, like, or any that stick in your mind from when you were younger?
Maybe Eric Morillo, Roger Sanchez, all those artists from the 90s and 20s, yeah. And now not. Now they are more creative. But in the past, every billboard was a big face on the billboard. And I was always asking, who's this? Who's that? And yeah.
Do you know what I love? You know, sometimes when they're stripping the billboards to paint a new one, and they strip back, and you can see the old ones.
Yes.
I love that.
And when it's windy, also in the airport road, you can see parties from 20 years ago. It's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's really
amazing.
special.
Yeah, super special.
So 14 to 16, 17, you were going to Pasha, and then what were the first big parties, like over 18 parties that you went to?
My main and first party was in Manumission.
Really? You went in?
Yeah, and I had a really good night. I can't talk about that night, but for me was the inflection point of my life.
Really?
Yeah, because I was unprivileged with 18 years old, with all these amazing shows. The music was amazing. Was so English. ¿Cómo se dice?
English related? Lots of it just English people?
Sí, era como muy esencia.
English essence.
Yeah, it was super English essence for the sound, and I really discovered the sound, but also the shows, and I had a really good night, and it was my first night, which I remember with lots of love.
Really?
Yeah.
And did you go back to Manumission? Was that like an occurring thing? Or
No,
was that just
I never went again.
So you went to Manumission, you fell in love with clubbing and dance music, and that was the turning
then
point.
I jumped to space with We Love, with also in Pasha with Subliminal Sessions from Eric Morillo. Was an era for house music, you know. It was a really good time.
Do you think that people that are born in Ibiza have more of a clubbing essence already in them, and they're born with that love for clubbing because they're around it?
Not really. And that's a conversation that I have with many friends who have a normal job, not as mine. As a
normal
DJ.
people.
They are lawyers, architects, and I speak with them, and they are super out of the movement. You know, it's not something like a refuse, but it's something like, okay, the party's there, but I'm in another mood, so I don't want to be in that clubbing scene. And if I have this influence, it's also because my parents, because they were working on radio all their lives, so I was always around music, not just electronic music, also the influence from the 80s and 90s music, and I have a special sensibility with the any sound. Classic. I do ballet. I do classic ballet, and sometimes I get emotion. I get emotional when I'm listening some pieces from Beethoven or Bach, Sebastian Bach or whatever. I feel the music in a really special mood, and it's not because I born in Ibiza. It's because my family was around music and radio all their lives.
So maybe this feeling and love for music for anyone in the world maybe becomes more because of like the music that you grow up with and you're surrounded by rather than the place that you're in.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you can say that there's definitely people, I think a lot of people when they think of Ibiza, they just think about clubs and parties and parties. But as we said before at the beginning, there is actual normal life in Ibiza and people that have normal jobs.
Yeah.
So it's not all just partying.
No. And it's a shame because Ibiza, it's a magical place where you can have really amazing experiences, and not just in a club. You have the best Mediterranean food, you have amazing beaches, you have the old town, the port, the hippie market, and I think it's a super multicultural place where you can do whatever you want. It's not necessary to be clubbing and be stressed about what's going tonight and let's go to this party and then to this villa party, and it's about to know the island in all the essence, you know.
When you were growing up, was there a lot of villa parties and after parties like there are now?
No, absolutely no. But in that times, it's a long time ago. Times, the clubs used to open till super late. I mean, for example, you could be dancing until 9 a.m. in the morning at Space Ibiza, then they stop 1 hour to clean and to set and to change the stuff, and then at 10 or at 11 was open again. So it was 24 hours non-stop partying, also in Amnesia and many clubs on the island. So it was not necessary to have these after parties in villas or in some places that is not supposed to be allowed.
Do you think that was a very big change for the clubbing scene in Ibiza from when after parties were banned?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Yeah, because I was speaking about that with many politicians, because I have many friends in the politicians nowadays on the island, and I told them, what is better, that the people goes to villa parties and take roads with drinking and smoking and putting the cigarettes on the forest with some dangerous, which can be a incendio.
Yeah, fire.
We can cause fire, or it's better to have them in a club with the main security, with sanitary staff, with emergency staff. What is better, to have these people around looking for a party or to have them in a club?
It's a very good point.
Yeah, and they always say me, maybe it's better to have them inside. Yeah,
of course.
Of course.
In the same place.
When they are inside, they are not in the road.
What's the reason why there isn't, they can't stay open for longer now?
Yeah, because in Ibiza we have two sides. The side of the people who is agree and respect this touristic model, and the other side which refuse absolutely this model. And sometimes I'm on Facebook in the newspaper fan page from Diario Ibiza, for example, or from Periódico, and a lot of Ibicenco people from my age. I'm 40, so I think I'm young, but a lot of young people, it's always writing and bullshit like, we don't want tourism in Ibiza, go out, go to Mykonos, go to... Hey, wow. My mom, for example, today made a text on her Facebook explaining about that, because we have to remember in the past that this was a poor island before the tourism arrived, because we don't have industry here. So you have the forest, you can be a farmer or you can be a fisher, but which industry we have in Ibiza?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So nowadays there are a lot of people who live super good thanks to the tourism. So don't refuse them. Remember, maybe your parents and your granddad and mom were working hard to have tourism in Ibiza. Why? Because you now are super comfortable. You don't want now these people on the island, so what we are going to do if the people don't arrive to the island.
It's so true.
It's true that we have to find the balance, because Ibiza now it's a super trendy island and it's massive, and the resources that we have is what we have.
Yeah.
It's a small island, so we have a small hospital, we have not big roads, so sometimes it's difficult if you live here to take the road to go to the supermarket or whatever in your common life. But a part of that, we have to respect that the people still wish to come to Ibiza and to spend money here, to host a hotel, to go to a restaurant, to go to a club, and that's a shame. But I'm impressed about young people now. They don't want people coming
to the island.
Yeah. Super and super local people, you know.
Locals.
Yeah. It's all about locals.
It's all about locals, she said. Vale, vamos bien. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the current state of the clubbing scene in Ibiza?
I think now, after the pandemic, because before the pandemic was something... the industry was a little bit divided about the sounds. Reggaeton, commercial music, underground, you are commercial, blah, blah, blah. And now I think we have the balance. If we speak about music.
Yes.
And I think in Ibiza still you can have the best parties on the world. You are running in all around the world. I'm also running in all around the world. But Ibiza is a really special place where you can lose your mind and be happy and enjoy and make friends and in resume to be happy. And it's something special and magnetic from the island that you cannot find not in everywhere in the world.
Do you think that there is too much to offer in terms of clubbing, or do you think that there is the right amount to offer to the people that are here?
I think there is many offer, but I think it's not bad, because in Ibiza arrive 100,000 people every day, so you have the opportunity to select where do you want to go and find the right place, because if you want to dance reggaeton, you can go to dance reggaeton. If you want to dance to commercial music, you can go to dance to commercial music. And if you want to be in an underground mood, you also find that. So I think we are now in the limit. Maybe if we go ahead with that, will be too much.
Yeah.
But at this time, I think we are in a balance. But we were speaking before in the car about there's many parties all around, and it's a bit crazy, because if I'm here on holiday, I'm sure I will be stressed about where I should go. I don't know.
I agree. That's what I think. If you're somebody that lives here, or you're from here, or you know the island very well, it's easy to know more or less where you want to go, because you have your group of friends, you know the parties, you know the clubs. But for somebody that comes to Ibiza for the very first time, and you have literally...
It's a nightmare.
I don't know, the biggest clubs, let's just say just between clubs and beach clubs, let's say there's like 15 of the big main ones. But then on top of that, you have a massive selection of boat parties, a massive selection of villa parties, a massive selection of after parties. There is a party every single minute of the day on this island.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So it could be super overwhelming for somebody that comes, like, where the fuck do I go?
I imagine myself with 20 years old arriving for my very first time in Ibiza, and could be a stress time for me.
Yeah, I agree. And on top of that, I think for somebody that's coming to Ibiza for the Ibiza experience, but is maybe not somebody that really knows their music, they're like, what type of music do I want to listen to? Because you now have so many different genres. And, you know, obviously now there's more techno events now. Then you've got, obviously, from reggaeton to techno. And so much in between. So how would you decide where you're going to go if you're not really into music?
We say in Spain, pito, pito, colorito. Pito, pito, colorito. ¿Dónde vas tú tan bonito? And then you choose here.
In England, we say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe. If it skills, let it go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And then that's the one. And then you end up at Amnesia.
What you can do. Yeah.
All roads lead to Amnesia.
Yeah.
But what I was saying before is that you're right. I was just looking at somebody's story, a guy that I know from Saudi Arabia, who's here at the moment. And I saw his stories, and he was at this villa party, and I swear there must have been 500 people at this villa party.
Wow.
So I'm like, where do these people come from? How do they find out about the after party? And how do they get there?
Yeah.
You know?
Incredible, huh?
We don't even know about these places, but the people that come on holiday just kind of, I don't know, is it just word of mouth? Is it friends that you make? I'm not sure.
Should be, because normally I don't know about these parties.
Yeah.
In my normal day, I don't have too much references about which villa party is the main villa party of today. But yeah, I think it's about mouth and oreja.
But there's a lot. There's so much happening. Do you have a favorite event at the moment in Ibiza, or an event that you think people should look out for when they come?
For me, the club is Amnesia.
Yeah.
And a good party is Pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really good techno offer. And also going to Pasha, for example, for Solomon, Musicon, and also Camel Fat. I love them. And they have a really good energy on the dance floor, and they create a really good mood. Also Paradise in Amnesia on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, yeah.
Yeah.
There are many parties. Also Ants in Ushuaia on Saturdays is daytime party.
Yeah.
There's many things to do here.
How do you feel about how the clubs have changed in terms of what they look like? For example, Amnesia, I think, for me, is one of the only clubs that hasn't changed so much.
Yeah.
But Pasha obviously has had its two really big refurbs. Ushuaia is new. High was obviously what Space was. So do you feel like Amnesia is maybe one of the most Ibiza, that still holds its Ibiza essence?
The last time I was partying, I was in party mood, and I was in Amnesia with some friends, and I told them, this is the last place where you can feel the Ibiza essence from the past, you know? And we have to advance. We all evolve, so it's about evolution, and but they still maintain, because the club have a lot of new things every summer. You can see that it's a proper place, the lighting, the bars, everything, and the backstage, the green rooms.
Yeah.
They do things every summer, and every winter they build new things for the next summer. But for me as Ibicenca, it's super impressive when I go, for example, to Pasha. I started my career there
in Pasha
as resident with Sebastián Gamboa in Vintage, and I was playing quite every Saturday there during all the winter, and in summer once a month. And for me, it's, when I get inside, it's a completely, totally different place, and it's super impressive for me, because it can be a club from wherever in the world, from Vegas, from Dubai, from wherever, Barcelona, Madrid, wherever. But it's not, I don't feel like I'm in Pasha, you know. It's a really strange...
Is it a sad feeling?
Not sad. It's something like a bit melancholic for me.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Yeah. But do you feel the same, for example, when you go to High and you walk through like the back?
No.
You don't feel that? Because do you feel like that's cut and new?
No, because space was a really good era, a really good time, but was a space. Then when you go to Hï, it's another completely different club. You feel that you are in another place, so you don't have this melancholic feeling.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
You know, it's a new place. It's just a new place. But when I go to Pacha and I see that everything is white now, and
yeah, and it's
I
still
love Pacha.
I love Pacha.
But it's completely different, but it's the same place. But space, now Hï is not a space. So it's another completely different place, different management. Everything is different. So I don't have this feeling when I go there.
Did it take you a while to go to Hï after space closed down? Or were you okay with the change?
No, I'm okay with the change because it's something that it's not a decision. It's a decision from the owners. So they decide to go in that side, and they decide to stop, or they decide or not. I don't know. But when I have to tell you that I put the first record ever in the theater from the Hï Ibiza. Not because I was the best DJ. I was the first.
Really?
In the night
I
for
didn't
the open.
know that.
Yeah. I was the first from the night of the opening.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's super special.
And I had a memory from Facebook from 5-6 years ago, and I shared a post from Hï, and they said, Anna Tur, the Ibizenco DJ, has the honor to put the first record in the theater from Hï Ibiza. So I have this screenshot for me, to have for myself, and I was like, yeah, if I think now about that, it was the first record, not because I was the first or the best DJ from the night. So it was because I was the first playing in the night. So.
And I think that they probably also did that because you're like from Ibiza, and you proudly wear the Ibiza badge, and I think for them it's a really big honor, and it's a huge thing. Whoever's going to play that first track, and it should be from somebody that's from the island.
You cannot imagine how was my feeling, because my first record ever as professional DJ was in a space. Despite I was resident in Pacha, was in a space in the Sunset Terrace. So my first record, the first record from the history of Hï Ibiza was from me. So it's something like
a full circle.
Yeah.
Can you remember your first ever track at Hï?
Yeah, was an edit from Prince.
Nice.
Yes, I don't remember which song was, but yeah, because they were a lot of local people and a lot of press. So I put this Prince edit, which was amazing. I don't remember which track was, but
nice.
Yeah.
So your first ever time that you played in Ibiza was the Sunset Terrace at Space.
Yeah.
And how was that for you, from somebody that is from the island, that has grown up here, you were partied there, and then you're like, I'm playing on my island?
Oof. For me, it was an amazing experience, because I don't used to play too much on my island. When I started, yes, for sure, I was playing in Space some nights with Carl Cox, the Revolution, his party on Tuesdays, and I was doing some parties in the island, but I started from the beginning of my career playing outside Ibiza, in Germany and Romania, many times. I was focused in that two countries.
And then you came here.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Because you would imagine it was the other way around, but really. And so you played that time, you played Tuesdays at Space with Carl Cox.
Sometimes, yeah.
And now, last week, she goes to, not last week, but a month ago, to Melbourne for one day only to play with Carl Cox. 1 day and a half, all the way to Australia. How was that experience?
It was one of the best experiences of my career. Not just because it was my first time in Melbourne, which is, Australia is amazing. What I saw in that day and a half.
in 36 hours.
Yeah, but I was in the Ultra Music Festival in the Resistance stage, and when I was playing, Carl was the full set with me, close to me, taking the micro. Oh yes, and I cried.
Did you?
Yeah, I have to tell you that for a while I cried. My tears made a little bit. Yeah.
He's always been a massive support of yours, and you've known him since you were young, also, Carl.
Yeah, but from radio, not from the DJ side.
Okay.
You know, because he used to come to the radio every summer, one or twice, to do the promo for his party in a space. So he knows me since I'm 18 years old when I started in the radio. So now, 20 years later, he's supporting me a lot, and I cannot express how grateful I'm with him to support me as an artist. I will play with him 3-4 times during this season. And
in Ibiza?
No, he will not play in Ibiza, I think, this summer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I will play with him in the Branch in Barcelona in 2 weeks. I will play with him in a Panorama festival in Germany, I think.
Nice.
I was playing in the Space Riccione opening 2 weeks ago with him. And I have another one which I'm not sure, I don't remember which is, but it's in September again.
And he's so nice and such a pleasure to be around.
Yes.
That everyone says he's the king, and he is.
I think he's the king. He's so special. He's not a diva. He's a gentleman. He has an amazing education and respect for other artists, for the crowd, for the people who is working around him. I think he's unique. He's really unique. I admire many artists, but he's my main artist.
Yeah.
To admire.
And he has given so much to the clubbing scene here in Ibiza.
Absolutely.
So much.
Yeah. And he gave many opportunities to a lot of artists during all that era in space. He had 20-25 DJs every night.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You know, like Willow, for example, also too.
Well, they had a lot of hours to cover.
Yeah.
With the afters.
That's true.
Did you ever play the afters, like in the morning at Space?
Yeah, a couple of them. but not partying in the night and playing in the morning. No,
yeah.
Getting up, doing a coffee and a cafe latte and a croissant, and then playing.
Was that your go-to? A croissant and a cafe latte?
Yeah, used to be. Used to be. Not now. But in the past, yes.
I love that, because you could have breakfast at Space also, right?
Yeah. In the Sunset Terrace, you had coffee, you had croissants, and yeah, I did.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Actually, in Ibiza, there's one of the bars where you can have croissant.
Where?
The one, so that if you're on the terrace, the one to the right, that bar. I think. I mean, I've never had one.
Not now, but maybe if I'm 20 years less,
maybe
I could know that.
Anna, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you to you, Katie. It's always a pleasure to be with you, to feel your energy.
Aww.
Yeah.
And you know what, one thing I like? We have done so many interviews and chats with each other, but I always learn something new. So this has been really nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much. I was going to hug you, but okay.
We are always around men, and that's
yeah,
why
I know. There we go. Finito!